Lady Whistledown spills the tea about a whirlwind romance during a particularly soggy season of 1804. Miss Mary Leopold, ever the opportunist, snagged a fiance over some sugared almonds and licorice in just 4.5 minutes. Talk about fast food. They jetted off from London right after the wedding, leading everyone to wonder what was really going on behind those newlywed doors. Lady Featherington, in a fit of pique, locked Lord Featherington out of her room. Meanwhile, Alice keeps a watchful eye on Will as he lies awake. The Queen, too, has her hands full observing the King's tantrum as he demands solitude. Over at the Bridgerton household, Lady Bridgerton wakes to an empty pillow beside her. Simon and Daphne sit for a portrait, but Henry, the artist, finds them a tad too stiff. He reminds them that they're allowed to smile and maybe even scoot a bit closer. Simon, ever the brooder, whispers to Daphne that he's planning to leave London once the portrait is done. Daphne's not thrilled. Gossip's bound to erupt if he bails on their marriage now that everyone knows that she's not pregnant. She asks him to stick around until the end of the season, just for a few more days. Simon reluctantly agrees to attend their ball. Henry, frustrated with their lack of chemistry, suggests new poses. Finally, Simon places a hand on Daphne's shoulder and they lock eyes. Henry declares them a picture of devotion. Eloise quizzes Benedict about his dalliance with Genevieve, but he dodges her questions. Hyacinth asks Anthony if she can join the fun at Aubrey Hall in the summer. Anthony is distracted with a newspaper announcement of a new opera star in Siena. Snapping out of his reverie, he delights Hyacinth by agreeing she can join. Eloise persists in grilling Benedict, who is busy sketching and trying to ignore her. She objects to his relationship, but not for the reason he thinks. She can't reveal her true concerns, so she leaves to get ready for the ball. As she exits, Lady Bridgerton enters with news from Aunt Winnie that Francesca will return for the ball. Colin mentions that Francesca will have stories to share from her time away. Gregory notes how much she's been missed, and Lady Bridgerton reflects on a busy season. Penelope visits Marina, who is supposed to be resting but is up and about. Marina assures Penelope she's well and that the tea worked its intended magic. She's no longer pregnant and ready to go home. Marina acknowledges Penelope's wisdom about Colin and predicts he'll see Penelope for who she is one day. They hear a commotion outside, and Marina goes pale at the arrival of a new visitor. Daphne confides in Lady Bridgerton that she and Simon are parting ways. Lady Bridgerton urges her to consider forgiveness, but Daphne feels Simon is choosing his grudge over happiness. Lady Featherington and Mrs. Varley approach, complaining about not receiving an invitation to the ball, with Prudence being particularly upset. Lady Bridgerton suggests Lady Featherington explain the consequences of their actions to her daughters. Daphne proposes they make room for them, hoping to move forward with forgiveness. Lady Featherington is delighted. Mrs. Varley then announces the carriage has arrived at their house with a Mr. Crane whom Daphne suspects may be George. Lady Featherington, Mrs. Varley and Daphne greet Mr. Crane, who turns out to be George's brother Philip, bearing the sad news that George died in battle. Marina is devastated and rushes off, but Daphne follows to console her. Marina reveals to Daphne that George had been planning to run away with her, get married and raise their child together. Philip found a half-written letter among George's belongings. Without Daphne's inquiries, Philip wouldn't have known where to find Marina, and she would have never known George's true intentions. She regrets thinking ill of him. Eloise pays a visit to the Modiste. Although the shop is closed, Eloise persuades Genevieve to make an exception for her sister's ball. She spots a yellow dress that she thinks might impress the Featheringtons, hoping for a positive mention in Lady Whistledown's report. Genevieve hints that Lady Whistledown knows how to keep her business afloat and avoid angering loyal customers. Eloise suggests Whistledown should be cautious about what she writes, especially regarding the Featheringtons and Bridgertons. Genevieve understands the subtle warning and reassures Eloise that she won't compromise anyone. Eloise hints at the Queen's engagement in the matter and leaves feeling accomplished. Once alone, Benedict advises Genevieve to lock the door. Daphne runs into Simon, who is on his way to Will's match. He questions him about his vow, demanding an explanation. Simon insists it's for her own good, claiming she'll be better off without him. Crowd gathers for the fight, and Alice prepares Will, promising that if he wins, they can lead the city and tour England. Will is tired of the fight-to-fight existence and wants to plan for their future. He suggests losing on purpose to secure a comfortable payout. Lord Featherington places a significant bet against Will, despite Will being a favourite. He stakes the deed to his house to cover the bet, betting on the outcome of the fight. Anthony, Benedict and Colin arrive at the match, and Anthony spots Sienna with another man and hesitates. Simon visits Will, who is ready as he'll ever be. Lord Featherington and Will exchange a knowing glance. Mrs. Varley informs Lady Featherington that their credit at the Modiste is still non-existent. Lady Featherington decides her daughters will have to rewear old dresses. Prudence is horrified and Philippa wonders if it's even possible to repeat an outfit. They enter the sitting room to find Philip waiting to speak with Marina. Marina is shocked when Philip proposes marriage. He sees it as a duty given George's indiscretion. Lady Featherington considers it a respectable match, noting Philip's means to support Marina and possibly her cousins. Marina rejects the proposal, not knowing or loving Philip. He respects her decision, but leaves with a heavy heart. Once he's gone, Lady Featherington tells Marina it was a suitable proposal. Marina, no longer pregnant, refuses to accept such arrangements. Daphne searches the room and discovers Simon's unopened letters to his father. The fight continues with Lord Featherington's cheering for the beast. Will lands a punch, then feigns injury, ultimately losing the match. Lord Featherington celebrates, but Tom and Reggie eye him suspiciously. Daphne immerses herself in Simon's letters until Lady Danbury interrupts. Daphne learns Simon had a speech impediment as a child, which he worked hard to overcome. The late Duke never read his son's letters, demanding perfection and abandoning Simon when he couldn't meet his expectations. Lady Danbury praises Simon's resilience and credits his triumph to his own efforts. Simon confronts Will, upset that Will didn't ask him for help. Will insists he doesn't need charity and believes taking care of his family is honourable. Simon criticizes his decision, and Will suggests Simon focus on his own marriage issues. Lord Featherington shows Lady Featherington his winnings from the bet. She questions the source and he claims he had a reliable tip. He paid off debts and still has enough left for new dresses for their daughters. At breakfast, Simon is surprised to see Daphne. She invites him to her family's gathering and he agrees to join her. Daphne and Simon arrive at the Bridgerton home where Francesca is delighted to see them. The family discusses the recent match and Hyacinth eagerly plans a visit to Cliveden. Benedict confides in Eloise about his relationship with Genevieve, downplaying its significance. Colin sings along with Francesca's piano playing, and the family enjoys a lively gathering. Eloise shares her news with Penelope, revealing she mistakenly believed Genevieve was Lady Whistledown. Penelope marvels at Genevieve's dual role and supports Eloise's aspirations for independence. Simon impresses Hyacinth with his paper folding skills, creating a paper pony much to Gregory's amusement. Lady Featherington and her daughters admire their new dresses. Lady Featherington muses about the possibility of Mr. Finch reconsidering his proposal now that Philippa's dowry is restored. Philippa is surprised to learn it was ever in jeopardy. Marina experiences sudden pain and requests a doctor. Genevieve looks on suspiciously. Lady Whistledown notes the anticipation surrounding the final ball of the season. Preparations for the Hastings ball are in full swing, with Simon and Daphne's portrait prominently displayed. Rose helps Daphne prepare while Jeffries assists Simon. The doctor informs Marina that despite the tea, she is still pregnant. Anthony and Sienna share a laugh in bed. He impulsively invites her to the ball, but she declines, knowing it's not her place. Anthony reluctantly accepts her decision. Simon and Daphne admire their portrait and negotiate the number of dancers they'll share. Daphne notes Simon's good rapport with children, but he remains steadfast in his vow. Rose announces the arrival of guests and Daphne prepares for their last dance. The ball is in full swing. Simon watches Will and Alice, noting Alice's new necklace. Eloise arrives with Lady Bridgerton, struggling with her corset. Daphne reassures Eloise and offers her an escape to the library, expressing her gratitude for Eloise's presence. The Featherington ladies arrive and Lady Cowper comments on their unexpected appearance, hinting at Lord Featherington's recent win. Lord Featherington is led into a private room. There's a bottle with the name Poison waiting on a table. Benedict and Colin are out for a stroll when Colin spots Penelope. He hurries over and apologizes for the whole Marina mess, saying he gets that she was just trying to protect him. Penelope graciously accepts. He wants to tell him something, but he beats her to the punch, announcing he's off on his tour starting tomorrow, inspired by her. When he asks what she wanted to say, she claims she's forgotten. He offers a dance, but she's all danced out and excuses herself. Eloise bumps into Penelope and mentions the Queen is at the ball, giving her a shot to discuss Lady Whistledown. Noticing Penelope's expression, she asks if she's okay. Penelope insists she's fine and leaves Eloise to her plan. Eloise makes her way to the Queen, but Brimsley stops her, saying she can't just waltz up to royalty. Eloise pretends she's there to thank the Queen for letting her investigate Whistledown, hinting that the Queen must be close to catching her. Brimsley, flattered, spills that Whistledown's print shop will be raided tonight. The Queen calls him away. Eloise rushes to Benedict, telling him to ensure Genevieve stays home tonight. She then bribes a footman to take her somewhere. Meanwhile, Anthony arrives with flowers to pick up Sienna, but a man answers the door, shocking him. Sienna sends the man upstairs and talks to Anthony, admitting she couldn't bring herself to go with him. She's safeguarding her future because she knows no one else will. Anthony tried, but Sienna Joanna can't let him derail her. She asks him to let her go as the man upstairs sees her for who she is and doesn't want her to change. Anthony apologizes and she shuts the door. The footman warns Eloise they must return to the party, but she insists on another moment. She sees a carriage approaching the printer, thinking it's Lady Whistledown. Just then, a Bow Street runner shows up and Eloise shouts for Whistledown to flee. The runner chases, but it's futile. Simon watches Daphne from afar. Lady Danbury notices and asks if his plans have changed. He confirms they haven't and that the separation is still on. She warns him that pride will leave him with nothing. Daphne asks her mother if it's different for men to recognize they're in love, as everything else seems different for them. She mentions they agreed to one dance tonight, a waltz. Lady Bridgerton reminisces about dancing with Daphne's father at a ball with peacocks, missing everything about him. Despite their trials, they choose to love each other every day. Love is a choice and it's not too late to make it. Daphne's mother tells her that this choice has brought her peace. Daphne wishes she can do something and her mother reassures her there's nothing she can't do. Daphne and Simon meet for their dance, soon joined by other couples. As they dance, thunder rumbles and rain begins to fall. Simon tries to pull Daphne to shelter, but she stands out in the rain. Philip and Mr. Finch move to leave, but Lady Danbury stops them, declaring the evening complete. She dismisses everyone. Simon apologizes to Daphne, saying the evening didn't go as planned, but it's better this way. She tells him she understands why he made the vow to his father and that she read his letters. She insists that the imperfection doesn't make something less worthy of love. His father was wrong, and to prove it, he only needs to look at her. She's tired of pretending and confesses her love, even for the parts he thinks are too dark and shameful. She urges him to choose love and happiness. It can't be up to anyone else. The Featherington ladies return home. Philippa gushes over Mr. Finch, annoying Prudence. Lady Featherington assures Prudence that she'll have plenty of opportunities to find a match and suggests renovating their country house. They enter to find men waiting. Lady Featherington asks for Marina, who appears. Mrs. Varley arrives with news. Lord Featherington is dead and the Bow Street runners have questions. Lady Featherington races to her husband's office, finding it empty and the money gone. She sobs. Simon goes to Daphne, admitting he doesn't want to be alone but doesn't know how to be the man she deserves. Daphne reassures him he does know and suggests they face things together. They kiss passionately, undress, and in a significant moment Simon does not withdraw. Lady Whistledown notes the splendid end of the season courtesy of the Duke and Duchess of Hastings. Colin prepares for his travels. Penelope cries on Eloise's shoulder, who pledges to help her. Penelope asks for some good news, and Eloise shares that she saved Genevieve and plans to set things right next season. Marina asks how she endured 22 years of loveless marriage. Lady Featherington advises finding small things to love, including her baby. She assures Marina she's strong and will do well. The Featheringtons watch Marina leave with Philip. Afterward, Mrs. Varley gives Lady Featherington a note with the name of the new heir to the Featherington estate. Colin says goodbye to his family. Gregory asks for a gift and Hyacinth requests anything blue or white. Colin tips his hat and departs on horseback. Daphne asks Anthony why she didn't see him at the ball. He apologizes, complaining he was unwell. He presumes she and Simon will return to Cliveden, but Simon says they'll stay in London for a while. Anthony plans to find a wife, focusing on duty rather than love. Eloise sends her regards to Genevieve through Benedict, who reveals she's headed to France. He admits he was with her last night, and Eloise realizes Genevieve isn't Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown acknowledges the attempts to unmask her and hints she may reveal herself someday. Riding alone in a carriage, she removes her hood to reveal she's Penelope Featherington. Daphne cries out during labour, with Simon and Lady Bridgerton by her side. After a tense moment, her baby boy is born. Asks Simon to hold him and mention they need to choose a name, suggesting it starts with the letter A, honouring family tradition. That's it for the Bridgerton recap. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next recap.